Have you observed it? If you talk about your misery to people, they give sympathy to you. Everybody is sympathetic to the miserable man. Now, if you love getting sympathy from people, you cannot drop your misery. That is your investment. The miserable husband comes home, the wife is loving, sympathetic. The more miserable he is, the more his children are considerate of him. The more miserable he is, the more his friends are friendly toward him. Everybody takes care of him. The moment he starts becoming happy, they withdraw their sympathy. Of course, a happy person needs no sympathy. The happier he is, the more he finds that nobody cares about him. It is as if everybody becomes suddenly hard, frozen. Now, how can you drop your misery? You will have to drop this desire for attention, this desire for getting sympathy from people. In fact, it is very ugly to desire sympathy from people. It makes you a beggar. And remember, sympathy is not love. They are obliging you. They are fulfilling a kind of duty. It is not love. They may not like you, but still they will sympathize with you. This is etiquette, culture, civilization, formality. But you are living on false things. Your misery is real, and what you are getting in the bargain is false. Of course, if you become happy, if you drop your miseries, it will be a radical change in your lifestyle. Things may start changing. It is a very strange world. If you become peaceful, your relationships with people will change because you are a different person. If your relationship was tied to your misery, the relationship may disappear. Bliss is not pleasure. Bliss is not even happiness. Happiness is always bound together with unhappiness, and pleasure is always bound together with pain. Dropping both. You want to drop misery so that you can be happy. That is an absolutely wrong approach. You will have to drop both. Seeing that they are together, one drops them. You cannot choose one part. In life, everything has an organic unity. Pain and pleasure are not two things. Really, if we make a more scientific language, we will drop these words, pain and pleasure. We will make one word, pain, pleasure, happiness, unhappiness, day, night, life, death. These are each one word because they are inseparable. And you want to choose one part. You want to have only the roses and not the thorns. You want only the day and not the night. You want only love and not hate. This is not going to happen. This is not the way things are. You will have to drop both, and then arises a totally different world, the world of bliss. Bliss is absolute peace, neither disturbed by pain nor disturbed by pleasure. People are so foolish. Not only the younger ones, the older you get, the more foolish you become. The more experienced you are, it seems the more stupidity you accumulate through life. It really rarely happens that a person starts watching, observing his own life and his own life patterns. See what your misery is, what desires are causing it, and why you are clinging to those desires. And it is not for the first time that you are clinging to those desires. This has been the pattern of your whole life, and you have not arrived anywhere. You go on in circles. You never come to any real growth. You remain childish stupid. You are born with the intelligence that can make you a Buddha, but it is lost in unnecessary things. A farmer who had only 2 impotent old bulls bought a new, young, vigorous bull. Immediately, the stud began mounting one cow after another in the pasture. After watching this for an hour, one of the ancient bulls started pawing the ground and snorting. "What's the matter?" asked the other. "You getting young ideas?" "No," said the first bull. "But I don't want that young fellow to think I am one of the cows." Even in their old age, people go on carrying their egos. They have to pretend. They have to pose, and their whole life is nothing but a long story of misery. Still, they defend it, rather than being ready to change it. They are very defensive. Drop all defensiveness. Drop all armor. Start watching how you live your day, to day life, moment to moment. And whatever you are doing, go into its details. You need not go to a psychoanalyst. You can analyze each pattern of your life yourself. It is such a simple process. Just watch, and you will be able to see what is happening, what has been happening. You have been choosing, and that has been the problem. You have been choosing one part against the other, and they are both together. Don't choose at all. Just watch and be aware without choosing, and you will find yourself in paradise. Yes, you have to come to terms with your loneliness, so much so that the loneliness is transformed into aloneness. Only then will you be capable of moving into a deep, enriching relationship. Only then will you be able to move into love. What do I mean when I say that one has to come to terms with one's loneliness? So much so that it becomes aloneness. Loneliness is a negative state of mind. Aloneness is positive, notwithstanding what the dictionaries say. In dictionaries, loneliness and aloneness are synonymous. In life, they are not. Loneliness is a state of mind when you are constantly missing the other. Aloneness is the state of mind when you are constantly delighted in yourself. Loneliness is miserable. Aloneness is blissful. Loneliness is always worried, missing something, hankering for something, desiring something. Aloneness is a deep fulfillment, not going out, tremendously content, happy, celebrating. In loneliness, you are off-center. In aloneness, you are centered and rooted. Aloneness is beautiful. It has an elegance about it, a grace, a climate of tremendous satisfaction. Loneliness is beggarly. All around it there is begging and nothing else. It has no grace about it. In fact, it is ugly. Loneliness is a dependence. Aloneness is sheer independence. One feels as if one is one's whole world, one's whole existence. Now, if you move into a relationship when you are feeling lonely, then you will exploit the other. The other will become a means to satisfy you. You will use the other, and everybody resents being used because nobody is here to become a means for anybody else. Every human being is an end unto himself or herself. Nobody is here to be used like a thing. Everybody is here to be worshipped like a king. Nobody is here to fulfill anybody else's expectations. Everybody is here just to be himself, to be herself. So whenever you move into any relationship out of loneliness, the relationship is already on the rocks. Even before it has started, it is already on the rocks. Even before the birth, the child is dead. It is going to create more misery for you. And remember, when you move according to your loneliness, you will fall into a relationship with somebody who is in the same plight, because nobody who is really living his or her aloneness will be attracted to you. You will be too far below them. They can, at the most, sympathize, but cannot love you. One who is on the peak of aloneness can only be attracted towards someone who is also alone. So whenever you act according to your loneliness, you will find a person of the same type. You will find your own reflection somewhere. Two beggars will meet, two miserable people will meet. And remember, when two miserable people meet, it is not a simple addition. It is a multiplication. They create much more misery for each other than they could have created in their loneliness. First, become alone. First, start enjoying yourself. First, love yourself. First, become so authentically happy that if nobody comes, it doesn't matter. You are full, overflowing. Nobody knocks at your door. It is perfectly okay. You are not missing anything. You are not waiting for somebody to come and knock at the door. You are at home. If somebody comes, good, beautiful. If nobody comes, that too is beautiful and good. Then move into a relationship. Now you move like a master, not like a beggar. Now you move like an emperor, not like a beggar. And the person who has lived in his aloneness will always be attracted to another person who is also living his aloneness beautifully, because like attracts like. When two masters meet, masters of their beings, of their aloneness, happiness is not just added, it is multiplied. It becomes a tremendous phenomenon of celebration. And they don't exploit, they share. They don't use each other. On the contrary, they become one and enjoy the existence that surrounds them. Ordinarily, the common interest is sex. Sex can join two persons momentarily and casually and very superficially. Real lovers have a greater common interest. It is not that there will be no sex. There may be, but as part of a higher harmony, listening to Mozart's or Beethoven's symphony, they may come so close, so close, so close, that they may make love to each other. But it is in the greater harmony of a Beethoven symphony. The symphony was the real thing. The love happens as part of it. And when love happens of its own accord, unsought, unthought, simply happens as part of a higher harmony, it has a totally different quality to it. It is divine. It is no longer human. The word happiness comes from a Scandinavian word, happiness. The word happening also comes from the same root. Happiness is that which happens. You cannot produce it. You cannot pedant it. You cannot force it. At the most, you can be available to it. Whenever it happens, it happens. Two real lovers are always available, but never thinking about, never trying to find happiness. Then they are never frustrated, because whenever it happens, they create the situation. In fact, if you are happy with yourself, you are already the situation, and if the other is also happy with himself or herself, she is also the situation. When these two situations come close, a greater situation is created. In that greater situation, much happens. Nothing is done. Man has not to do anything to be happy. Man has just to flow and let go. So the question is, should one first come to terms with one's own loneliness before entering into a relationship? Yes, absolutely. It has to be so, otherwise you will be frustrated, and in the name of love you will be doing something else, which is not love at all. There is infinitely more, but your wanting it is a barrier in reaching it. Desiring is like a wall that surrounds you. Non-desiring becomes a door. This is one of the most paradoxical but very fundamental laws of life. Desire, and you will miss. Don't desire, and it is yours. Jesus says, seek and ye shall find. Buddha says, seek ye not, otherwise you will miss. Jesus says, ask and it shall be given to you. Buddha says, ask not, otherwise it will never be given to you. Jesus says, knock and the doors shall be opened. Buddha says, wait, look, the doors are not closed at all. If you knock, your very knocking shows that you are knocking somewhere else on the wall, because the doors are always open. Jesus is as enlightened as Buddha, because there is no question of being more enlightened or less enlightened. So why this difference? The difference comes from the people to whom Jesus is speaking. He is speaking to people who are uninitiated into the mysteries of life. Buddha is speaking to a totally different kind of group, the initiates, the adepts, those who can understand the paradoxical. The paradoxical means the mysterious. You say, my life seems so meaningless and empty. It seems so meaningless and empty because you are constantly hankering for more. Drop that hankering and then you will go through a radical transformation. The emptiness disappears immediately as you stop asking for more. The emptiness is a byproduct of asking for more. It is a shadow that follows the desire for more. Let the desire disappear and look back. There is no shadow anymore. Asking for more is what our mind is, a constant asking for more. It makes no difference how much you have, the mind will go on asking for more. And because it goes on asking for more, you go on feeling you are empty. You are missing so much. See the point? The emptiness is created by asking for more. The emptiness is not there. It is a fallacy, but it will look very real when you are caught in the net of desiring.